All right, welcome back to another explainer. Today we're unpacking something incredibly profound. It's a metaphor buried deep within chapter 25 of the Mahaparinirvana Sutra. You know, if you've ever felt completely weighed down by mental afflictions, daily frustrations, or just this deep, lingering sense of existential suffering, I want you to know you're definitely not alone. The ancient texts actually view this universal struggle as a spiritual illness. But here's the really beautiful part. They don't just diagnose you and leave you hanging. They provide a highly specific, practical treatment plan to cure it. So today, we're diving straight into the ultimate prescription to heal our deepest mental afflictions.
So, here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the diagnosis in the great spiritual illness, then look at the 4 causes for nirvana, figure out how to find the ultimate doctor, move on to processing the prescription, and finally, look at the active cure.
Okay, let's kick things off with part 1, the great spiritual illness. We really need to understand our current condition before we can treat it.
Think about this for a second. How exactly do we cure the invisible illness of our daily sufferings and our mental afflictions? Because, let's face it, it's a completely universal human experience. We all deal with greed, we all get angry, we all face moments of deep ignorance, or just this general sense of unease. What I love is that the sutra doesn't approach these as permanent, unfixable character flaws. Not at all. It treats them as symptoms of a disease. And the best part? It's a highly curable disease.
Now this is where the text gets incredibly brilliant. It perfectly maps physical ailments right onto spiritual ignorance, creating this super practical treatment plan. Think about it. In the physical world, a sick person relies on a skilled doctor and a medical prescription to heal, right? Well, the sutra says a spiritually afflicted person, which is us, the sentient beings, has to rely on a good friend. This good friend prescribes listening to the Dharma and ultimately taking the medicine, which is actually practicing the Dharma. It takes this highly abstract, esoteric theology and turns it into a perfectly logical, step-by-step treatment plan.
So, how exactly does this treatment plan unfold in real life? Let's move to section 2 and look at the 4 causes for nirvana.
Listen, the absolute crucial point the sutra makes here is that you cannot skip steps. It's a strict formula. If anyone ever tells you that extreme asceticism or just punishing yourself is the direct path to great nirvana, they're dead wrong. The sutra explicitly states that without these 4 specific, sequential steps, liberation is literally impossible. Step 1 is approaching a good friend. Step 2, you have to single-mindedly listen to the Dharma. Step 3 is mindfully contemplating it. And step 4 is actually practicing according to the Dharma.
And that leads us perfectly into the most critical first step of our treatment plan, Section 3, finding the ultimate doctor, the good friend.
So, in the sutra, the ultimate doctor is called the good friend. But we're not just talking about a supportive buddy here. The sutra sets an incredibly high bar. A true good friend is a teacher or a bodhisattva with absolute moral alignment. They actively guide you away from the 10 evils and constantly push you toward the 10 goods. But you know what makes them truly rare? Zero hypocrisy. I mean, they act exactly as they teach. If they're teaching you right view, they completely embody right view. Plus, their motivation is entirely selfless. They're constantly seeking joy for others, never for themselves. Finding a guide like this, it's the ultimate catalyst for your spiritual healing.
I absolutely love this imagery from the text. It says, like the moon growing from the 1st to the 15th day, a good friend helps good dharmas grow. It's such a perfect metaphor, isn't it? Just as the moon gradually brightens up the night sky, a true spiritual guide slowly, steadily illuminates the darkness of our ignorance. They help our virtues expand day by day until they are completely full and bright.
Now, you know how a real doctor wouldn't just hand you a generic pill for every single disease you might have? They target the root symptom. Well, the spiritual good friend does exactly the same thing. If your specific affliction is greed, they prescribe a meditation on bones. I know it sounds intense, but it forces you to confront the absolute impermanence of the physical body you're clinging to. If you're dealing with anger, they prescribe compassion to cool your troubled mind. And if your core issue is ignorance, they prescribe deep meditation on the 12 links of dependent origination. That basically shows you exactly how your suffering is constructed step by step, so you can learn how to dismantle the whole shebang.
All right, so once the good friend gives you the prescription, you have to actually process it. Let's look at Section 4, Listen and Contemplate.
This covers steps 2 and 3 of our 4 causes. The text makes it crystal clear. Just hearing the name of the medicine doesn't magically cure the patient, right? When you single-mindedly listen to the Dharma, it acts like a hook stopping a wild elephant. It cuts off what they call the 5 hindrances. things like worldly desires, lethargy, and toxic doubt. But you can't stop there. You have to mindfully contemplate it. Contemplation breaks the foreign versions. That's our terrible habit of mistaking pain for pleasure. We're seeing permanence in things that are constantly changing. Basically, contemplating the prescription prepares your mind so you can finally swallow the medicine.
So let's see how all of this builds into the final integrating cause where the actual healing happens. Section 5, the active cure.
Okay, this is the moment of truth. This is where you actively swallow the medicine. Practicing according to the Dharma means an absolute, uncompromising commitment to severing evil and practicing good. It requires you to see the absolute emptiness of all things, completely refusing to cling to the 5 aggregates. That means letting go of attachment to your physical form, your feelings, your mental formations, and your fleeting perceptions. The sutra even points out that a true practitioner would rather give up their own life than break this moral clarity. It's radical, but this active practice is what finally kills the disease of suffering once and for all.
So what's the payoff when the illness is finally destroyed? You reach the healed state. The Mahaparinirvana Sutra defines this ultimate state of great nirvana with 4 profound qualities: eternity, bliss, true self, and purity. It is a state that's entirely free from the agonizing cycle of suffering, aging, sickness, and death. It's essentially the ultimate indestructible health of the spirit.
Let's just put this whole journey into perspective for a second. We start out sick on day 1, completely bound by our afflictions of greed, anger, and ignorance. Then we seek out the doctor, that's meeting our good friend who selflessly guides us. Next, we receive the prescription, where we deeply hear and contemplate the teachings to shatter our illusions. Then comes the actual treatment, where we actively practice the Dharma and completely let go of attachments. And finally, we arrive at the ultimate cure, eternity, ultimate liberation, great nirvana.
The sutra maps the whole thing out so perfectly. The illness is known, the 4 exact causes of the cure are clearly defined, and the ultimate medicine has been prescribed. The only thing left in this process is for us to actually act. So, I'm going to leave you with this one question. Are you ready to seek your good friend and take the first dose? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.